What is the financial outlook for 2010, and who are the true key players in the global economics? Tune into my talk show, Universal Talk, Saturday, February 13th, 2010, where we will explore the evidence. We welcome George Green. George is a former investment banker, registered financial principal with the NASD, and a broker-dealer, securities underwriter, real estate developer, insurance broker, and the publisher of Handbook for the New Paradigm, written by the ETs. Visit his website at www.nohoax.com. You may also view and share the video, The Big Picture. Tune in as we will be discussing global economics on Universal Talk, Saturday, February 13th at 10 a.m.
Welcome to Universal Talk. On today's show, we ponder the financial outlook for 2010, and who are the true key players in global economics. Let's present the case. First, we must consider economics as a whole and ask some serious questions like, why are we not all allotted free energy, food, clothing, and other necessities as a birth-given right to this planet? Why do we actually pay taxes? Why are there such things as taxes and interest? What if humanity was actually run by only a few elite families? What if that is why we can never seem to get ahead and continue to fall into the same pitfalls over and over? What if we were all like little worker bees, just seemingly trying to work and get ahead, but with each hour worked results in money generated but directed to the powers to be, and allowed the rich to get richer and the poor to stay right where they are? In a moment, we will have George Green on the show. George is a former investment banker, registered financial principal with the NASD, and a broker-dealer. He is a securities underwriter, real estate developer, insurance broker, and publisher of Handbook for the New Paradigm, written by the ETs. Hello, George Green. Welcome to the show.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm great.
Well, can you tell the listeners a little more about yourself?
Well, you pretty much gave a summary of all that, except for the game of Monopoly, which I got involved into when I was pretty young, which basically involved finding out what money really was, and also the players that play with it. And I got to a position of a lot of power because I had a lot of money. I ran around with the guys that are planning on taking over the world. Well, that resulted in me started analyzing everything that you were just talking about. In other words, what is money? Believe it or not, they don't have a definition of it. They just, if your listeners would just contact the United Nations and ask them for a book called Systems of National Accounting. That's the accounting book for the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank. And in it itself, they tell you that they don't have a definition of money.
Wow.
So that it was one of the strange things I looked at.
Right.
That's only because they were coming after me for selling money. Well, if I was going to sell something, then I have to have identification of it. So I finally got the state of Colorado, where I was at, to issue me a license to sell money. And the precariously position of that, I would sell money to banks. You know how you right now the banks tell you, come over and put your money in here, put your $10,000 in here. We're going to pay you 1.5% interest, right?
Mm-hmm.
And meanwhile, inflation's in the real rate of inflation is probably closer to 10%. So if inflation goes up 10% and they're going to pay you 1.5%, you've lost 8.5% right away, haven't you?
Right.
In the same period of time. So no matter what happens, you're in a losing game right at this minute. Now the plans, because I ran around with these guys, was set into motion because some of the meetings I set into says, what's the number one problem around the world, Joe? For yourself, you can understand this, right?
Mm-hmm.
The number one problem. A, we have too many people.
Right.
That's what they said.
Right.
Well, and most people will say, okay, that's right. Well, there is a group of people that got together, and I sat with some of them, and we're talking about how to reduce the world's population. Now, Henry Kissinger says, look, the number one problem is we have too many people. And he says, the number one aphrodisiac is power. So what we'll do is we'll put people into power in certain positions as we go forward with our plan, and they call it the Plan 2000. In fact, they put it in writing. Every congressman and senator got it because Jimmy Carter put it in writing, and I was asked to be his finance chairman to tell you how this all worked around.
Wow.
When I got to looking into this plan, and they think they've won already, except for they're way behind their schedule. Plans have certain goals. The plan was to get a war started in the Middle East in the year 2000. That's the reason why they call it the Plan 2000. Mm-hmm. And that is to spread it to the United States as part of their population reduction program. Meanwhile, the money that we have is all fiat. It's all paper. Doesn't mean anything. It's just something that we've agreed to use to keep track of the exchange of goods and services. That's all it is.
Right.
Meanwhile, we have given everybody the idea that you're going to be taken care of in some way.